Hi, I'm Nick Shell, and we're going to talk about hair loss. I did a video earlier today called Norwood 2 to Norwood 5 Transition, ? And that guy, who is a faithful watcher of my hair loss channel, had a simple statement with a lot of insight that I think we all can appreciate. That guy said this, quote, "I want to see a dermatologist, but I kind of don't want to face the truth," end quote. I love this comment. Even though it's very short, it is very honest and very vulnerable, which is how I try to be on this channel. I want you to see how imperfect of a person I am. I want you to see my growth. And the more we can be honest like this with each other, the more we can grow as those brothers of the hair loss. So let's talk about that. He's saying he doesn't want to face the truth. Again, I praise him for his honesty on that. I can remember the day that I realized that about myself. Now, granted, we have to get into a time machine and travel back to the year 2001, the summer of 2001, before the whole 9/11 thing happened. I had just turned 20 years old, and I saw the lady that cut my hair, not at the place she was cutting my hair, but she'd cut my hair, most of my life or whatever. And I saw her, and I had already noticed my hairline looked like it was starting to go up. And of course, at this point, what was happening is I was definitely transitioning to Norwood 2, and I was noticing this, and I brought her up. I said, "Hey, do you mind if I ask you, could you take a look at my hair and just kind of see if I'm starting to lose my hair, if my hairline is starting to recede?" So, and I've known this lady since I was 2. And so she takes a very close look at my hair. And I'm going to quote her. And when I quote her, what I don't want is for people to disagree with what she said. Because what I don't care is if what she said is right or wrong. And I don't want us to get lost on the quote. Okay? So there's my disclaimer. We're not arguing what she said, whether it was real or not, whether it was true or not. But this is what she said. Quote, as she looks at my hair, she says, "Well, I do see where the hairline's starting to go up a little bit right here, and even right here." And then she said, "See these tiny little baby hairs? Usually that's a sign that those hairs are basically dying, and that is a sign that your hairline is going up there. That's what that means," end quote. Now, one of my most popular videos I've ever made, that's drawn a lot of you in probably, I talk about ways to know if your hairline's receding. And I mentioned that, and a lot of people fundamentally disagree with me. Even though I believe the lady was telling the truth, her name's Shalane McClung. Even though I believe she's telling the truth and she was right on about it, because it ended up being true for me, I don't care if you believe it. I want to be so clear that I don't care, and you're wasting your time if you comment about baby hairs being a sign of receding hairline. I don't care. You're wasting your time. Don't waste your time. Because for me, it was true. For me, okay? Now, with all those disclaimers, and I hate that this has to be so full of disclaimers, but I already know that a lot of people aren't going to hear what I'm actually saying past that story that I told, which is important to me, because if you want to know me better as a person, you have to know that story. That was the beginning of my reckoning with my hair loss at age 20 in 2001, that summer. Okay, so that was the first time in my life where I had someone other than me agree that my hairline was actually changing. That in theory, it was the first signs of receding hairlines. And I don't want to get caught up in the, no. I don't want to get caught up in the technicalities of, well, technically, Norwood 1's not receding, but Norwood 2 is, and Norwood 3 is balding. No, we're not talking about that either. What I'm simply saying is that was the first time in my life where anyone other than me agreed and confirmed that the beginning signs of hair loss, maturity, receding, whatever you want to call it, however you want to lump it up, I don't care. We're not getting caught up in the technicality of it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stop. Stop typing that comment right now. Stop. Okay? I'm saying that when I was 20 years old, when she said that was the first time it was confirmation for me. And here's why that's important. Because everybody else in my life at that point, no one else in my life had ever said anything about it or noticed it, which there wasn't really a reason to notice it. But I'd never heard out loud in my ears anyone ever say that before to give me confirmation that my hairline was changing at age 20. Of course, looking back on pictures, I've already seen how my hairline already wasn't like straight across at 18. There was a little bit of a V that I could already see at 18 when I graduated high school, looking back on pictures for a video I made a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I can totally relate to that guy when he is being honest and saying, I don't want to face the truth. And of course, this is based on something someone had said yesterday too, or in the video from this morning, that they went to the dermatologist, they got the official confirmation that actually their hairline progression with Norwood, which everyone can have a different concept of what Norwood is which, but still his synopsis, the professional synopsis was worse than the guy even realized. So, however, I say all of this because this is part of everyone's hair loss journey, right? Step one, well, I don't know if it's step one, but one of the first steps of it is to recognize that it's actually happening. If you don't recognize that it's happening, you're more likely to be in denial. And if you're in denial, then you're more likely to let it bother you even though you know it's happening. And then you get stuck in this thing where you freak out, get anxious and depressed because even though you know it's happening, you don't do anything about it, you don't acknowledge that, and you don't evolve into that new character that you need to accept your hair loss, to evolve into either a guy who's gonna be a bald guy maybe in his early 20s, or a guy who's gonna do something to slow down or stop that hair loss. So again, a major thank you to that guy. This is a very important thing to talk about. Again, I beg you not to get caught up in the technicalities of things I've said, okay? Let's be artists about this. Let's not be lawyers. That's how I say lawyer. I think you're supposed to say lawyer. I say lawyer. That's just how I say it. I don't say Nevada. I say Nevada. That's how I say it. Raised in northern Alabama. That's how I say things, okay? So let's not get caught up in the technicalities for that legalistic mindset and the technicalities. Let's focus on the poetry of this conversation. The point is this: it's important to come to terms with it, and it's completely okay to acknowledge that you're not quite there yet and quite ready. Because even that is still kind of the first part of coming to terms with facing the truth.